Hi everyone, and welcome to Savvy Sips. My name is Savannah, and my mission is to make the wonderful world of wine more accessible. One thing I have noticed is that many people do not feel confident when picking out a wine because they cannot decipher what the label means. Therefore, today we'll be learning how to understand and comprehend wine labels so that you can learn more about the delicious wine inside. I think the easiest way to understand wine labels is to break them down into Old World and New World. The New World includes North America, South America, Australia, and now South Africa is making a name for themselves. If you're American, like I am, you are probably very familiar with this type of label. New World wines focus more on the grape that the wine is produced with. If it is not produced with one type of grape, it will say blend on the front and will normally list the grapes that it is blended with on the back. Here are two New World wines. For this one, the winery is Klein Family Cellars. The vintage, which is the year the grapes are grown, is 2020, and the wine is made in Contra Costa County in California, USA. As you can see, very big in the middle, is the word Zinfandel, which is a red wine grape. This one is from the winery 20 Bench. It's made from California's North Coast and has a vintage of 2019. A little bit smaller than the other bottle, but this one clearly says Cabernet Sauvignon. If you turn the bottle around, at the top it says 20 Bench Cabernet Sauvignon. In America, where these wines hail from, the wine must be 75% that varietal to be labeled as such. Therefore, we can deduce that this wine is 75% Zinfandel and this wine is 75% Cabernet Sauvignon. Old World wine labels mostly focus on location. This is because as wine was becoming a star on the European stage, most places grew their native grapes. So, locations made their own identity with their native grapes and their own style of production. Therefore, knowing the location was more important because then you knew the style in which the wine was produced. Here is an example of an Old World wine. The name of the winery is Côte Royale and its vintage is 2019. You can see that in big letters it says Bordeaux, and it also has the official seal on top, saying Vin de Bordeaux, a famous wine-growing region in France. As I spin the bottle around, we can only see wine information, like aroma, tasting notes, and suggested pairings, who imported the wine, and the government warning. You might be asking, okay, it's from Bordeaux, but what grapes are in it? A Bordeaux red traditionally is a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot, so we can infer that our wine is also produced from these grapes. However, as I briefly mentioned, location and not grapes are important in Old World wines. Tasting these wines is the best way for you to understand which styles fit your palate and which locations you gravitate towards. If you figure out locations that you enjoy, the world of European wines will be your playground. If you're unfamiliar with European wines, I recommend keeping a list in your phone or a notepad of which locations you taste and how you enjoy them so you can always reference back when trying to select a wine. New World wines are labeled with their grape varietal because as wines began to take over the globe, these new locations that wanted to grow wine did not have an established identity that the Old World had. So therefore, they focus on the grape varietal. I am planning on doing videos on each of the famous wine locations, where we will talk about native grapes and traditional wine production, so stay tuned for that. If you are familiar with some grape varietals that you like, I suggest finding locations in Europe that make wine with the same varietals and start trying those wines so you can begin learning locations with wines you have a higher chance of enjoying. Safe and happy sipping.